All right, so I'm taking a risk. So this is my Titans Season 4, Episode 1 review. And it's the weirdness that I expect from Titans. They're they're gelling as a team, which is why I for a while stopped watching because ugh. Anyway, so it starts off with them in a bowling alley goofing off. Some of them are bowling. And may I say, even though they made it sound like this was, there was no time jump, Gar has really gotten control of his abilities. Not only can he transform into something other than a tiger, he is able to just transform his arm into a tentacle. Which is quite a power boost from when we last saw him, when he was a bat and he was, well, blind as a bat and flying into a window, which was just absolutely hilarious. So, so while that's happening, Lex Luthor is looking for more power. And at this point, we don't know why he needs the power, but it's Lex Luthor. He's always looking for more power. So that really doesn't tell us much. Okay, what diabolical plan does he have now? And he immediately, his plan is come to fruition. He doesn't need the doctor who made it possible. So he just fires her. And he tells his henchmen to make sure she leaves the premises. And she's, of course, upset, which who wouldn't be, that you finished this project and you're just unceremoniously told, get out. Now, but on the other hand, Lex did say, you're going to get paid. I'm not going to just, throw you out and not pay you what you're due. Now, whether he was actually planning on doing that, I don't know. It's Lex. But yeah. So he kicked her out, and she's, of course, like I said, upset. And then Rachel starts having these visions. A milkshake suddenly is leaking blood. And you're like, okay, what's happening here? Um so she of course tells everyone she's fine because nobody on these types of shows can actually, oh, I don't know, tell the truth because we need drama. So the next we see of them is Bruce had arranged for Connor to meet his father, in this case, Superman. And I don't know why they keep referring to him as Superman. I guess because Dick is the only one who knows he's Clark. Is that why? But you would think in in confidence with Connor, he'd be cool with calling him Clark. That Superman, I mean, Connor knows. He goes by Connor Kent. So, he obviously knows that he's Clark Kent. So, I don't know. This is weird that they never call him Clark. It's always Superman. Not Kal-El, not Clark Kent, Superman. Always. So, Bruce arranged it so he and Superman would meet, and that it would be at Star Labs. Okay, so far so good. So as they're driving to Star Labs, suddenly all the electronics go haywire, and so does Rachel. And Connor gets a message from, oh wait, this happens after Star Labs. Sorry. So they go to Star Labs, and they want to see what everyone can do. And so they start off with um, Gar, and he gives him a new suit so he doesn't have to strip naked every time he transforms. Which I'm so glad, because that shtick was getting old. At least they weren't doing it anymore that he accidentally was naked in front of other people. So that's a bonus, but yeah, that was kind of a stupid weakness. But anyway. So, and something weird happens. He ends up on this desolate area. I don't know if it's a different planet, a different dimension, but when he comes back, the whole lab is in shambles. And they said that he turned into a gorilla, then I can't remember which dinosaur they said. He said that he turned into a Velociraptor. That's the word. And he destroyed the lab, and so everybody's on their guard when Gar takes a step towards them that he's going to attack. So, and they explain, and Gar's starting to tell them what happened, but then they get sidetracked because Bernard is like, okay, let's go this way and the rest of you clean up. Because he wanted to talk to Connor and Dick. And now, of course, Connor never met Superman. I don't know if they're going to actually have him meet Superman or if that's going to be an off-panel thing at the end of the season. Because up to this point, there was a Superman in the DCEU. So I don't know if they were going to do that, just like you never saw Bruce Wayne as Batman. You saw Bruce Wayne. So maybe they might show a Clark Kent, but not Superman. I don't know how they're gonna go around this. But so he explains through AI glasses, which was hilarious because it looked similar to the type of glasses Clark Kent wears. And totally did not fit Dick Grayson whatsoever. It looked good on Connor. So he showed them what Clark is doing, and Connor, you could see that there was some pride in there that, Superman is trying to save a galaxy. So then you see his assistant with Rachel and Starfire. And Starfire, Corey destroys whatever that is. And she asks if she did well. And she's like, yeah, we could have used lasers to destroy that because it's, trash. But we figured this would be easier. This would be less expensive. I have to admit, there were a lot of great lines, like at the bowling alley when Tim was talking to his father and telling Gar what's happening, and Gar's like, does he know we can go hours without having to save the world? So, It's adorable, and from Tim's perspective, it's probably slightly annoying that his father's calling him shortly after they left. It's like, seriously, Dad. But at the same time, I just think it's so sweet that his dad cares so much about him that he wants to keep tabs. But Tim took it in stride. He's like, yeah, he just probably just wanted an excuse to call. So I found that amusing as well. The Gar's statement of does he know we can go hours without saving the world? So apparently she destroyed, with just a small percentage of her power, the most the toughest metal on Earth. And Corey is still learning her power because this is the power she was actually given. This was the power she actually was born with. But because her parents are massive dicks, they assume that the firstborn child should have the power of fire. And not thinking that if they have another kid, maybe that one will have it. So they decide to jump the gun, and because I guess on Tamaran there is no air in the spare logic there, because if there was, it's like, let's try again, maybe the second child. So they lied to the kids their entire lives. And so she's just learning her new power. And then we see Tim. Dick and Bernard go to see Tim. And Tim is just a total nerd. He's so psyched about being in Star Labs. And so Dick and Bernard say, we have a surprise for you. And Tim assumes it's the Robin suit. And he's so excited about the Robin suit. And Dick's like, calm down, you've only been a Titan for 5 minutes. And so they give him a bow staff. And apparently his first task is to learn how to extend the bow staff, because it seems like every time they show him attempting to use it, he tries one way and then it's like, oh, I have to do this. So hopefully by the end of the season he knows how to use the bow staff, or at least can open it without a problem. So they all then say their goodbye. First, the last present actually comes from Bruce. So they come out, and Bernard's like, oh yeah, we took the liberty of reworking your ride, of making improvements, which was thanks to Bruce. And so they end up with a car inside where the luggage area of the bus would be. And everybody's excited to see it, but Corey and Connor are just amused at watching the guys. Corey, Connor, and Rachel are all amused at the guys for, wanting to drive the car or ride in the car. So then we see them leaving, and suddenly all the tech goes wacky, and so does Rachel, like I said. And Connor is getting a message from Lex that he wants to meet him. And I have no idea how he's transmitting this, but only Connor can hear it. But it messes up all technology as well. So, except for the actual bus driving, just the rest of it. So, they talk about whether Connor should go, and they keep saying, Corey and Dick keep saying to him, it's your decision, but we're going to try to convince you not to do it. But it's your decision. But it's your decision. It's like, you keep saying that, but at the same time, you keep trying to talk him out of it. It's like, just say your piece and let him make his decision. Which, by the way, what was with that sexual tension going on at the bowling alley between those two? They're sleeping together. What is the... Why is there tension? Is it because of Barbara? What the hell? I mean, it's not like either one of them are, are monogamous. Neither one of them said anything about Barbara or Corey going off with that psychiatrist or whatever. I don't know what's happening here. So, but yeah, you can tell they're very much alike. So they decide that they need to find out what Lex's game plan is. So, and I guess Connor knew what was going to happen, because while Connor, Gar, and Rachel are at some warehouse going to do research, which that guy who is there looked like the guy who seemed to be frozen when his, I don't know, girlfriend or friend or whatever, when they were eating Chinese and suddenly it looked like she was eating mealworms or something, all covered in blood. And this demon or whatever kills her, or cult member or whatever. And he's just sitting there, literally frozen. He really looked like that guy, so I don't know if it's him or somebody else. And they are looking for why Lex is acting the way he is. While they're doing that, Corey goes into Lex's mansion and is beating up his guards left and right, and while Lex is calmly eating his dinner, which I found quite entertaining. And Dick and Tim are listening in. So Corey's just having a chat with him, like he knew she was going to come in, and he's chatting with her about Commander, which this is the first time they actually called her that, I think. I don't think last season anyone ever referred to Blackfire as Commander. She was always Blackfire. So it's like the writers are telling you, oh yes, actually we do know that her name is Commander and not Blackfire. That was just interesting. So they're talking about Corey having to let Commander go and realize that the powers that she was raised with weren't actually her own. They were Commander's. And so they were chatting, and then Lex looks through a telescope and mentions that he can see, and you can see he sees Dick. He calls him Richard, but so it's obvious he knew what was going on. Now, were they across the street? And that's why he could see him, or is there something funky with the telescope? And, but while they're talking, Corey was able to release one of Bruce's bugs that was able to go into the laptop and give them the information they need. And while that's happening, Lex just told Dick that just remember I'm being gentle, and proceeds to have 3 ninjas attack him. So Dick takes care of the ninjas, and then it's like, I hate ninjas, and then turns around, more ninjas. You know, it's funny. This is a more hardcore season of the Titans, yet it's also funnier. It's funny as opposed to corny. So I'm so far loving this season. So he takes care of 2 of the ninjas, and Tim desperately wants to help. So he tries to take on one of the ninjas, and he's sorely outmatched. And so Dick throws a throwing star at him and takes care of the ninja. And Lex just says, I really like those guys. So, so then we see Corey, Gar, Rachel, and Connor looking at some files, and then Gar realizes Rachel's not around. So they're looking up info about what's happening. Gar goes to find Rachel, and she's hallucinating. And I put that in quotes because, considering her powers, I wouldn't exactly call it that, but for lack of a better term. So, he asks her if she's okay. And she's like, I don't know. But she doesn't tell him what she saw. So they go back to where the others are, and then Dick and Corey inform them about what they found. But Tim's not with them for some reason. But anyway, so they let them know what they found. So again, another talk about Connor wants to meet with Lex. Dick says that it's not a good idea. Bruce was afraid of him. This is not good. And Connor's like, Jesus Christ, he's one of my parents. I want to know who he is. Which, that's fair. Regardless of how this happened, how this came about. He wants to know how everything happened. And the only person who's going to learn that from is Lex. So, he goes to meet Lex. And he introduces himself as Connor Kent. And I'm like, you're wearing a big S on your chest. I'm pretty sure he knows who you are. And so Lex is explaining what he wants. And Connor asks him, why did you create me? Why do you want me to stay? And, of course, Corey and Dick found out that he's dying of kryptonite poisoning. Which I think it comes out of the comics, actually. I can't remember how they fixed it in the comics, but... so everyone assumed that he wants to use Connor for a blood transfusion to try to save his life, and Lex is like, yeah, about that. I tried that already, and nope, didn't work. So, as he's talking to Connor about this new project, and he's thumbing through this book, he starts coughing up blood. Rachel starts spazzing. She starts screaming. And Sebastian is starting to cough up blood. And so obviously they're all connected somehow. And since Rachel is in on this and she's not part of this occult, I'm going to say it is an occult because it's Rachel. So she somehow manages to calm down, I guess because of the fact that she is the Raven. And Sebastian is freaked out that his reflection is so stern. And so then we see Lex, who's coughing up this serpent, the snake. And Connor takes care of the snake, but it's too late. Lex is dead. And his security guards come in and they arrest Connor. And they're saying, watch his eyes, watch out for his eyes. And I'm like, and do what? Seriously, it didn't look like they weren't wearing fireproof anything. Maybe they were. I don't know. But if that's the case, then it doesn't matter if he does hit them with his heat vision. So, yeah, it was just bizarre. But Connor briefly was thinking about taking them on and running away because, he didn't kill Lex. But he decided to put his hands up like he was told. And then we see the doctor outside the apartment. So, implying that she had something to do with it. And also, I think that Gar coming to this other dimension in light of all this craziness, maybe that had something to do with it too. Because we don't know how he transforms, what happens to his consciousness when he transforms. I mean, obviously, he knows what he's doing when he's transformed, but sort of like Nightcrawler going through an alternate dimension when he teleports, or same thing with magic. That's a similar thing that they're doing for Beast Boy. But, yeah, nobody's talking. And now, of course, Rachel has to because, well, she was screaming in the bus. So, obviously, something's happening. Oh, yes, an acute moment that I forgot to mention was Tim posing with his bow staff and wanting Connor to take a picture of him because he wanted to give the picture to that guy, and being Bernard. And he even mentions, he wants to give it to Bernard, send it to Bernard because he's the one who gave him the staff. And Rachel is totally seeing through Tim, and she catches on that he has a thing for Bernard. So yeah, I haven't watched episode 2 yet. I will put out a video when I do. But this is going to be interesting to see who is Sebastian. Now, the next episode is called Mother Mayhem. So maybe the good doctor is Mother Mayhem? Would make sense, because like I said, she was in front of Lex's apartment when he had a serpent, when he was coughing up a serpent. So, whereas otherwise we've only seen blood being coughed up. And good Lord, there was far more blood than you've ever seen in the entire 3 seasons of of um Daredevil. Oh my God, my brain just died. Let's see if there's anything else I'm missing from this episode that I wanted to mention. I don't believe so. I think I covered everything that I wanted to this episode. So I will see you guys next time.